Is everyone ready? Okay, let me just remove my dinner here. All right, well, welcome everybody to the May 20th City Council meeting. I first of all want to start by acknowledging and thanking Vice Mayor Beach for running the last meeting. She did a wonderful job on a very long and difficult meeting. I appreciate that. So we're going to go ahead and kick this off today with the call to order and the Pledge of Allegiance. And who do we have out here? May I just have our yak all lead the Pledge of Allegiance together? We pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, Madam City Clerk, may we have a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Papajohn,
Here.
Councilmember Brownrigg,
Here.
Councilmember Stevenson,
Here.
Vice Mayor Beach,
Here.
Mayor Coulson.
Here. All right. We have no requests for AB 2449 remote participation, and we have no report out from closed session. So we will move to upcoming events. I want to start with something that I received from our Director of Public Works, which is that it is National Public Works Week, beginning today, May 20th. It's a week for the public to show appreciation of public workers and professionals throughout the nation. So what that means is if you're walking through the city and you see somebody trimming a tree, or you see somebody fixing a sewer line or a sidewalk or anything, it would be wonderful to stop by and just say thank you so much for your service in recognition of the week. It's tough work. We really appreciate our team, and they just got a huge award last meeting. So we have a lot to celebrate with that. And with our Parks and Recreation, we have a few things. Whale watching has been rescheduled to May 30th, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. There are only a few spots left, and you meet at the community center. Contact the Burlingame Park and Recreation Center for fees and registration. We have a chess meetup. All kinds of skill levels are welcome. First Sunday of every month. The next meetup is at the community center on June 2nd from 2 to 4 p.m. It is free. Bingo and Benihana. How can you go wrong with that? If you are a part of the 55 plus community, of which I think almost everyone up on this dais is.
No.
No. Oh, I forgot. That's right. Trying to age you. Join us. So you're not invited, Emily. Let's see. Community Center, join us on June 17th from 3 to 5 p.m. for food, bingo, and prizes. The fee is $5. Pre-registration and payment are required. Call the community center or register online. Email Colleen, CONEFREY at burlingame.org to sign up for the Burlingame Gazette. The Burlingame Gazette is our newspaper that has the latest information and programs and events and going-ons for our 55 plus community. I personally just signed up for it last week to make sure that I was involved. I don't know if our library has anything, Brad, if there was anything special. We're pretty caught up. Go to the library website. There's lots of good things to do.
Thursday night. The Poet Laureate.
Oh, Poet Laureate on Thursday night. Okay, great. I will not be able to attend because I have a PCE meeting that night, but hopefully some of us can join for the new installation of the new Poet Laureate. And I think, Peter, you have something.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. Thursday, June 7th, from 6 to 7 p.m. at the Burlingame Women's Club, we're going to be launching our first inaugural evening of remembrance. And the whole focus is we all lose people in our lives. Everybody grieves in different ways, but this is an opportunity to come together as a community and share stories, share our feelings, our sentiments about that. We hope it's an inaugural event as a way to kind of bring the community together on a topic and subject that is not normally talked about. And again, it's from 6 to 7 at the Burlingame Women's Club. It's really to honor the memory of those that we've loved and lost, whether it's a grandparent, a child, a friend, a colleague. Just a nice evening to share in that. Hope everybody can attend, and you can RSVP through me or through Randy Wren, who is hosting the event.
All right. One other event I have is on June 8th. We're going to be hosting our first annual community engagement fair. So if you have a nonprofit, a local nonprofit, and we have a number already signed up, we have our schools joining us. We have a few of our nonprofit agencies that do advocacy work that are joining us. And we will have hopefully our Park and Rec Foundation, maybe our Library Foundation, and we have all the youth sports programs. They are going to show up at and I think there's another one, Megan's bringing Cora over. So they will be there from 9 to 12 p.m. on June 8th. And this will be a very fun day where if you want to get engaged, if we're all trying to fight loneliness and make sure we have ways to connect with our community. So if you're a senior or a youth or anyone who's just looking for a way to get back connected to your community post-COVID, this is a little fair that you can come to. There will be prizes, raffles, food, things to eat. And it will be welcome to all ages, little kids all the way, families. And it's just going to be kind of a fun few hours hanging out in the community center, just kibitzing and getting together and seeing how we can all maybe share our interests and learn about the nonprofits that exist here and the needs that they have. Does anyone else have anything? No? Okay, no? All right, those are the upcoming events. We have some presentations this evening. We have our first one, which is Rethink Waste 2024 Trash to Art contest recognition.
We actually have to continue that.
Oh.
The kids were not available tonight.
Oh, busy schedule, those kids.
They're very busy.
Okay, we will continue that to the next night, but we have another group of kids that's here along the same vein. We have the update from the Youth Advisory Committee, our YAC. And I look forward to come on up and introduce everybody and let's hear a little bit about what's going on with YAC.
Well, good evening, Council. It is my privilege to introduce to you today a group of exceptional young leaders in our community. They've been instrumental in advancing the interests and well-being of our community through their dedicated service to the Youth Advisory Committee, or YAC. This dynamic group of individuals has exemplified the spirit of civic engagement and passion for making a positive impact in our community. The YAC's commitment to service, creativity in our community is truly inspiring to me. They have demonstrated outstanding leadership, innovative thinking, and a genuine desire to the betterment of our city. Today, YAC will be sharing with us a presentation highlighting their accomplishments and the impact of their efforts throughout the year. And I encourage you to join me in applauding their achievements and acknowledging their value and contributions to the city. Before we begin, I wanted to recognize our two graduating seniors. We have Sylvie Olson and Ashley Fong. They have not only dedicated their time and energy to YAC, but have also become role models to their peers and future generations of community leaders. Their impacts extend beyond the bounds of YAC and will undoubtedly continue to resonate throughout Burlingame for years to come. Congratulations to Sylvie on going to Carleton College and to Ashley for being accepted to UC Davis and UC Santa Barbara. So we wish them good luck on their next adventure. Without further delay, the Youth Advisory Committee.
Hi, everyone. Thank you again for having us tonight. So we are a group of 13 teenagers who go to school or live in Burlingame. And our main goal is just to raise awareness on any concerns that the Burlingame teens may have. To begin, we have.
Hi, I'm Hope
Delora, I'm a freshman and this is my first year on Yak.
Hi, I'm Katie Friedman. I'm a sophomore and this is my first year on Yak.
Hi, I'm Kristen Lee. This is my first year on Yak and I'm in ninth grade.
Hi, I'm Ashley. I'm a senior and this is my third year on Yak.
Hi, I'm Dylan. I'm a freshman. This is my second year on Yak.
Hi, I'm Hannah Sinsky. I'm a freshman, and this is my second year on Yak.
Hi, I'm Penny Reed. I'm a junior and this is my second year on Yak.
Hi, I'm Ellie Liu. I'm a sophomore and this is my first year on Yak.
Hi, I'm Adrian Su. I'm a sophomore and this is my second year on Yak.
Hi, my name's Sylvie Olson. Next week I will be graduating my 5th year on Yak.
Mhm.
Hi, my name is Karan Suharman. I'm a junior and this is my first year on Yak.
Hi, I'm Zach. I'm a sophomore and this is my 4th year on Yak.
Wow. Amazing. Thank you.
So this year, our initiative was public safety and emergency preparedness. For our initiatives, we've created several PSAs in video and flyer form. For example, earthquake safety and fire safety.
The first event we helped volunteer with this year was Family Camp Out, where families brought blankets and tents to watch a movie at Washington Park. Yak helped facilitate some field games such as tag and also helped hand out food at the barbecue made by local law enforcement. Later on in the year, we helped volunteer with Muddy Mile, where we guided on the participants and helped facilitate the crowds.
Another one. Next slide, please. Another one of the events that Yak helped volunteer at was the senior dance, where we helped set up decorations, serve food, and we were also able to mingle and dance with the seniors.
Another event that we helped run was the Fall Fest, where we helped Burlingame businesses help run booths and made sure everyone had a great time and made sure things run smoothly.
One of our frequent events is Kids Night Out. Our most recent are St. Patrick's Day themed and a Mother's Day themed. As Yak members, we volunteer at these events and we guide the kids through the activities, fostering an overall positive and fun experience.
Additionally, we have an annual tradition at Yak to help out with the tree lighting and pass out over 2,000 of the light up necklaces to the community. From there, we helped out at the winter market, which was the first year that this event has been held at the community center. And so I got to write letters as Santa, which was super fun.
Fun.
To further engage in our initiative of public safety, we made and decorated cookies for our local fire and police departments and gave them to them to show our appreciation and wish them happy holidays.
Last fall, we had the opportunity to attend the Yak Social, which took place at the San Carlos Recreation Center. At the event, we bonded with other Yaks from around the Bay Area and shared ideas about events.
One of our other events was a self-defense workshop. We partnered with a local instructor from the United Ideas of Self-Defense and had it for 20 participants of all ages come out. We really helped build a fun community and learn useful self-defense skills.
This is Yak Attack, an event that happens once every 2 years. And so multiple city officials from local cities come as keynote speakers and they answer Q&A questions, explain what they do as community events. This year, it was hosted at the Burlingame Recreation Center and Mayor Colson was there. So we greatly appreciate your presence.
And another part of Yak Attack is being able to go to different classes hosted by Yak committees. And we also hosted our own this year, which was inspired by the self-defense workshop we did. And we thought it was a very relevant skill to give young people as we're going into times of transition and just having the safety and preparedness as was our initiative to navigate this world. and Chipotle was also served at this event. So
Mhm.
very much loved by everyone.
Every month, we create a public service announcement or PSA, which can include a poster or flyers or a video that is about a disaster to raise awareness for public safety. And we've created many PSAs, and our latest one was about earthquake awareness.
Cute.
All right, my favorite slide. I love Yak so much, like the first reason that I can talk to you lovely people. And also I've just created such special relationships with each of these 12 amazing teenagers and Sydney. And I've just loved having the opportunity to mingle and line dance with seniors at the senior dances and play with little kids and doing crafts at the Kids Night Out. And it's just been such a great and humbling experience for these last 3 years. So thank you all.
You're welcome.
And I also love Yak. I've stuck with it for a really long time. And I love it because I continuously learn. It's such a beautiful opportunity to both contribute and also receive. Yeah, our events vary from helping out at senior dances, one of my favorite activities of all time, best people. And from that, helping with little kids at Kids Night Out. It's so beautiful to experience such a full spectrum of life and the skills that I've acquired and the friendships I've made and just the human connection, which, as we've said before with the events, can be isolating with the pandemic. It's been a constant for me, and that really helped me get through that time. And yeah, I love Yak so much. I'm so grateful for all of you.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I'm going to go ahead and open it up to colleagues for questions or comments, and then we'll take any public comment if anyone has any. And that's that. So does anyone want to kick it off?
I mean,
Vice Mayor.
I look at that, first of all, fantastic job on the presentation. And maybe one small thing you're learning here is the guts to get up in front of a dais on TV and give presentations. That's a really important skill you're going to take with you too. So bravo for that. But I look at all these events in the slides. They couldn't happen without you. Like literally, there's so much that Parks and Recreation does that requires and really leans on your support and really leverages the skills and the energy and the enthusiasm you bring. So thank you so much for your service, and especially to the seniors, Sylvia and Ashley. Thank you so much for your service all these years and for your leadership. That surely your leadership helped bring in this amazing group. It gets to be contagious when you have great people on a team. It attracts other great people. So juniors and sophomores and first years, you need to keep recruiting and keep it going. So bravo.
Anyone next?
I-
Michael, Councilman Brownrigg.
I say this every year. You guys are super impressive. It's really great that you're giving back. But I was really in mind of the Yak presentation this year because I just listened, and I recommend that if you have a chance, listen to the Surgeon General of the United States talk about the report they just put out about loneliness, the growing impact of loneliness across the country and the effects, the really malicious effects it has on social cohesion. So thank you for what you're doing, because all of those activities in one way or another are combating loneliness, and that's really, really important. So thank you.
Yeah, I would just echo the comments from my colleagues here on the dais. It's amazing. And the leadership that all of you step up in an environment where it's easy to just kind of hunker down and think within your own self. So to be out there, to be making an impact, whether it's the seniors, whether it's the youth, super impressive. Encourage you to keep recruiting. I'd love to see this whole room full of Yak volunteers someday. I know Sydney may. But yeah, I mean, it's unbelievable. And I guess one question I have, and I don't know, I'm not asking everybody to respond, is just how has this changed your life as you're going through this? You know, for some of those, it's ninth grade or eighth grade, maybe when you first started, but mainly high school. How has this impacted you during your years in high school so far?
Anyone?
Bueller? Bueller? They don't know that joke.
I could speak on that. I think
Please.
what the seniors said about it being a really wonderful experience to mingle with other teens in the area, but also with the community, is one really great aspect of being a part of Yak. But also, I would consider myself a fairly new citizen of Burlingame. I moved here 2017. So before Yak, I actually didn't really know what was going on around the city. But as a result of joining and being able to attend all these events and connect with different people working in the recreation department and the library, it's been really wonderful seeing that Burlingame has a really big community and also very tightly like knit. It's been really great just being able to connect with people and seeing new faces and seeing also the same faces appear again in the same at this like kids night out at the events, knowing that like the kids are enjoying the events and showing up every time. So yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Councilmember Papajan.
Yes, thank you. I think there's a limit on the number of members. Is that correct? Yeah, so I don't think they can grow too much larger than this, but I do just really applaud you on your commitment to service. And I know you all have such busy schedules and so many competing activities. And I just think this is such a great one. And I really enjoyed your presentation. And I loved hearing how you just really enjoy being with each other as well, because you're all different grades. You probably have different friend groups. And so it's just really neat. You can come together and just realize you can come and participate in community events and, you know, meet people who may be different than you, but really, you know, connect in a really nice way. So thank you again for your service.
Thank you. And just on a last wrap up here, first of all, I want to really thank Sydney for all the extra work. I know you're here on a lot of weekends and weeknights, and you just do tons of stuff. So let's give it up. Thank you. You make it all happen. And congratulations to Ashley and Sylvie. Those are two great schools. I used to work for Carleton College. I invested their endowment, and UC Davis is 5 minutes away from where I grew up. Two fantastic schools. I think they're lucky to have both of you. And then finally, I'm going to ask you on our June 8th event that I'm working on, I hope Yak might have a table. So I'll work with you, Sydney, and maybe you have one or two people. I think it'd be a great way to tell the community what you do and make sure seniors and other people either know, high schoolers know that they can apply and how to join you, and that the outreach you do to the community, as Councilman Brownrigg says, around loneliness. So when seniors come and see all these young faces, I think it's a great way for them to know about, well, maybe I should sign up for the Valentine dance or the this or that. And they might be more apt to do it knowing they're going to get a chance to interact with your amazing smiling faces. So with that, I'll just say on behalf of the whole council, thank you very much. We appreciate all of your effort and your work. We are going to hopefully in the next year be taking on a very difficult topic, which is micromobility, and especially around electric bikes and e-bikes and pedal assist bikes and some of those things, and scooters, and just the regulations around that and safety around all of that. And given what your theme was this year, when we do that, I would like to reach out to Sydney to make sure that if you are around, you come and attend some of those meetings and give us feedback, and look for those agenda items, or maybe we even host something separate that you work with us on so we can get some input from our youth on those really important potential regulations that we might have coming along the way. So with that, I think we're concluded and appreciate everything. Have a great summer. All right, our next item is an update from Caltrain, and not to put you on the spot, Councilwoman, but I know this was an item that you requested, and I would like to turn it over to you, Vice Mayor, for maybe just a little brief kind of framing and intro.
Oh, well, thank you, Madam Mayor. And I just want to thank the Chief of Staff of Caltrain, Casey Fromson, for being with us tonight. There's amazing work happening with Caltrain. I don't want to steal any of Casey's thunder and her team's thunder, but I think this presentation touches our city in different ways, not only the exciting things that are happening electrified, but ways we can partner with Caltrain to increase ridership and get more people riding transit, and other various updates as well, and particularly some of the important work happening at the Caltrain Local Policymakers Group, which I've been honored to be a part of for a number of years, for 9 years now. So anyway, Casey, thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Casey's a rock star.
Thank you, Vice Mayor.
Oh, thank you. Thank you everyone for being here. I've been at Caltrain for 10 plus years now, and I've touched this project for 15 years. And I know many of you along that journey, and I'm so happy to be here today to talk about really the exciting time of the end of the journey for electrification, but where we can go and how we can really work with the city to make sure everybody knows that we are very close to having it in place. Can we have the next slide, please? So you can see all the major milestones that we've completed. And just a few weeks ago, we had substantial completion with our main contractor on it. So now we're really in the testing phases. We're testing trains from San Francisco all the way down to Gilroy. We have several trains on property right now. And the exciting thing, and I'm going to keep mentioning these dates, mid-August is when we plan to have our soft rollout. So that means that people will be able to ride our electric trains in mid-August. And in September is when we will get rid of every single one of our diesel trains on the corridor between San Francisco and San Jose and have a brand new electric fleet, and then turn on the new electrified kind of service plan that we have in place. And we'll talk about that in a few slides for what Berlin can expect for that. So August and September, it's almost here of this year. And this happens to be Caltrain's 160th anniversary as well. So it was steam with Abraham Lincoln as the president. We've had a diesel system for the last 70 years. And this year we're going to have an all electric system. Next slide, please. We have been sharing the trains with the community throughout the corridor, and the Vice Mayor was there. Thank you for being part of it as well. We've had 3 events where the public could see it, and I have to say it was really heartwarming to know that the public cares about the trains as well. And so you can see for RSVPs, we've had 12,000 RSVPs for these different events. Thousands of people are showing up to check out the trains, and they're not even moving yet. So I'm hoping that when we do have that service in place, and there again, people are going to be able to know what kind of a different feeling and experience they're going to get on it, that they're going to make it part of their regular lives. But we're going to continue to make sure that we have these fun events to spread the word that this is actually coming. And so everyone that was there, from the very happy children getting their squishies to the people that have been around on this journey for many years, we really couldn't be here without the support on many different levels, and we're really grateful for that. I want to keep sharing in that level of gratitude and appreciation as we get closer to the launch. Next slide, please. So just to kind of remind people of what you get with electrification, I kind of think about it as like the 3-legged stool. You're going to get faster service. You're going to get more frequent stops. It doesn't mean we're pushing more trains through there. It's really the capability of the trains allow us to adjust the service pattern so it feels like more service. So it's 20% more service across the board, 26 at equity priority stations. And then at the baseline, it's a half an hour service, throughout the weekend and off-peak. So every 30 minutes, you will have a train that comes there to your station. And then it's the experience, Wi-Fi, smoother, quieter, outlets at every seat, digital display, trip information. And this is what people care about. This is the reason why you don't ride transit. You say, hey, it's going to be too slow or doesn't come enough. Well, that's what we're doing. And the experience is going to be great. So we really are covering all of these things there. And then as we think about the YAC group that was just here and future generations that are not going to see those diesel trains ever on that, we're doing our part for the environment too. So it is really an important project that has been years in the making and it's almost here. Next slide, please. So we put these together for each station, or sorry, each city, and you can find them on our website, but we did pull out the Burlingame specific one. And so this is just kind of generically, what would the service pattern look like for Burlingame? And in the coming weeks to months, we're going to roll out what the exact pattern is. We're testing the trains right now to make sure kind of our theoretical model of our speed and frequency all works out. But because the trains are out in the corridor now we're starting to dial in what that exact service pattern looks like. Next slide, please. So this is a good one, for example, for Burlingame. So the current service of stops per weekday are 61. With electrified service, it's 75. I need to be checking my eyes out these days. And you can see then also, what does that look like on the peak hour and then the off peak? And so going from a train once an hour was really hard to depend on to do a lot of different activities. But if every 30 minutes there's going to be a train, you can do a lot of things knowing that that is your baseline. And then in peak periods, it could be even more on that. So you can see the numbers even down there for Broadway. So that's on the kind of feels like more service side. And then on the speed side, you can even see, our local trips are going to be faster. I didn't talk about it in the previous slide, but it takes 100 minutes to go from San Francisco to San Jose, making every single stop. With the electric trains, 75 minutes. So it really is that performance again that's going to make even the shorter trips be faster for everyone. Next slide, please. We're continuing with our safety outreach. This is a new environment for everyone. The trains are going to be quieter. We have an overhead contact system. And so we've done a lot of work for all of the first responders, but we're out there talking to schools now and youth as well, making sure they understand the new kind of environment we have and that there's a lot of resources for people to learn from. Next slide. I don't think it's going to play here, but in case you want to geek out and kind of see it yourself, since you haven't come to these, we have plenty of fun videos on our website. And I included a couple links here that you guys can look at. And we have a member of our team that does drone footage for us now. And so then we really get excited about it. So plenty of other links for you in your spare time to think about trains and Caltrain. Next slide, please. Oh, look at that. What's happening? I didn't just talk about it and the train's moving. You can go to the next slide. Places where you can get involved. We're going to continue to send out information. And then kind of when I go to the next set of slides, it's like why we need to get that word out. But again, I'm going to say it again, soft launch in the summer, mid-August. And then we really would love to work with the city of Burlingame and having an event for the city. So we have the dates right now. It's September 21st and 22nd. And we would love to be able to celebrate with all of our cities along the corridor and have each city kind of have some type of ownership in the launch of it. We're going to talk about what kind of fares or free fares that we provide that weekend and for a little bit after that. But we think that each community, since Caltrain's been a part of these communities for 160 years, that each one could have its unique kind of element to it. We know talking to one city, they already have something planned that weekend, so then we can have a booth there. Or maybe each city, you want to have the youth involved in it, get the word out. Or, we would love to collaborate with everyone. And I'd love to be able to point up and down the corridor that on this weekend, you can go to Burlingame and talk about Caltrain or have it, paired with something else there or however it works best with each city on it. We can't be everywhere at once. So that's why we are hoping that there's some city kind of generated excitement about it as well, but we're happy to support it, come up with ideas and work with you on this because this is something, again, that we should all kind of feel ownership of and be proud of. So then I'm going to switch gears just a little bit. So you got the electrification update. It's coming in the next couple months. And then as Caltrain is thinking about our future, we have to really think about our partnerships and how do we continue to get people on transit and specifically to Caltrain. Next slide. Cities are going to play an important role for that. As we think about kind of the power that cities have to move people and to kind of shape people's experiences, we want to have deeper partnerships with our cities of kind of how do we make those connections and think about that interaction between us. Pre-pandemic, we didn't have to do much. People knew about Caltrain, the trains were packed. Now we have to continue to think about really every single avenue that we have out there of making this part of our ecosystem. So it's something that is natural to people. And we think that the connection and the partnerships with cities for us is very important. Next slide. And why is it important for Caltrain? Is Caltrain is still having slower ridership recovery. So the overall trajectory is great. We had, oh, that number is actually out of date. Compared to last year, we've had a 25% increase in our ridership. So we're going in the right direction, but with so many people working from home still, 3 days a week, maybe people are coming to the office, our ridership is not what it was. And so we have to think about then how do we get people back on there? And the other reason it's so important to Caltrain, and we were so proud that most of our operating budget used to come from the people riding the system. We felt we were, we had very little subsidy. We were so proud of what we were doing. And that turned on its head when we didn't have as many people riding the system anymore. So we have to look at where we're going to get additional external funding for. And that's something that we're working at the many different levels. But we need to also, again, make sure that have people riding our system. So the next slide is a little bit of what we're doing, everything from, you may have noticed, even today we've revised our schedule. And so we have much more service in the midday and the evening, other times of the day. It's not just in the peak period, which is what we used to have it for. We're working on our coordination. We've done several different past promotions. And in fact, in case anyone from the youth group is listening, you still have a $1 youth ticket on Caltrain right now. And that is going to be part of our permanent program starting in September. So we know that getting the youth onto the system and used to riding transit is a key part of making it part of their daily life in the future. Thinking about the experience, but doing everything we can even to contain costs as well and find our efficiencies. Next slide. But that's going to go back to what can we do on that partnership side and with a toolkit. So we created a toolkit, which I'll describe in the next slide, but it's just thinking about, what are some of those tools that we know exist with different cities. And we know that this is something that will benefit cities as well. As you think about your traffic, your parking demand, how you want your recovery to be and how you want kind of the ecosystem to look like, that transit can and should be part of that. Next slide. So on this page of the Caltrain website, we have outlined several steps that cities have taken on the Caltrain corridor to implement some of these different models, such as we have a Go Pass. Caltrain is definitely within walking distance. And so we have some cities that actually buy that for all of their employees, and they have a pass then to ride transit. We know as they live in different places. Transportation demand management, development agreements, local ordinances, station access, that's a good one of just making sure, as we are designing bike lanes, making sure, does it go all the way to the station? If you want to talk to us about how those interact, we are happy to be part of that and make sure that, we're thinking about, making it as easy as possible for people to transition in from their community activity to transit to get to their next one. Transit-oriented development, parking management, those are all examples that we know you know well, but we're trying to bring to the forefront of your mind as you're thinking about it and being a little bit more conscious, and us actually reaching out to cities to say, think about us, think about how we can be a partner and connected in your activities. And we love to continue to deepen that relationship. And if you this is a sophisticated city, so I know you've thought of all these things, but if you need examples of what other people have done on that website, that's what we're doing. We're just populating things of on the corridor, hey, Mountain View's done this, Palo Alto's done this, other examples so people can generate some ideas for each of your own kind of communities and what may work best for you. So we're not saying you have to do this, but we are certainly reminding everyone that you can and want to work with you on these efforts. Next slide. And then this is just kind of the last one that we know that there's lots of different needs and that we want to continue to partner with you on this, on the implementation side of it. So do not be surprised if we keep coming back to you as a city on this one. This is one that we feel like we need to lean into, that may not be something that changes ridership overnight, but we think has a real benefit between us and the cities. And so that we need to continue to be proactive and stay in touch so we actually see the implementation of some of these things along the corridor. And I believe that is the last slide. So I'm happy to take questions. It was kind of a two-part for electrification and then also just how we can continue to partner with cities.
Yeah, thank you very much, Casey. That's amazing. Well, I'm going to go ahead and open it up to colleagues first to see if anyone has comments or questions. Anyone?
I can't prefer to follow.
Great presentation. Really appreciate it. I just think Burlingame, with the important land use work we've done as a council and as a staff, where we've got really nearly 3,000 units in the pipeline, transit-oriented housing. We have got development that we've approved thoughtfully, that literally even some of the biggest developments in life sciences that are walkable to the Broadway Caltrain station when that weekday service comes back. We've been thoughtful about that because we know that to create a sustainable future, Caltrain as a spine running through our community is going to be essential. So, there's some great ideas in the toolkit, but, one thing that, certainly I think we should look at as developments on the, as we approve them, even requiring or having on that list, making sure we're thinking not just about the big community benefits, which are important, but the importance of those developments having transit passes for communities as parking requirements are lowering, as people do like to live with less auto travel. There's great options, and people that select to live in transit-oriented development could really benefit from those passes. I think those are all some great ideas. So thank you for that. I want to see if people have other questions, and then we'd certainly, of course, top of mind for us in the city is always being mindful of how we can partner. And I know we're in close contact with, of course, our grade separation project, which is going to be really important for Burlingame in the months ahead. But maybe other colleagues have questions specifically about this presentation.
Questions or comments, anyone? I have one, but I'm happy to go.
Well, I appreciate the presentation and all of your work, Casey, for years now to improve transit on the peninsula. I grew up in a community that was transit dependent. It wasn't in the US. And so I really appreciate it. And I've long thought there were a couple of things that were real inhibitors. One is not knowing when the train is coming, or whatever it is, a bus. And the second is the feeling like, oh, shoot, I just missed one. I'm going to now have to wait an hour. A huge inhibition. So I think it's great that we're going to have 2 stops an hour. I say this with some hesitation, but if there were some way to have a sort of a timer that isn't, an eyesore, but is telling people like next train in this many minutes, I think it would be a quiet advertisement to how frequently the trains are coming. And that might do a good little job of marketing, because I don't think most people, no matter how many times we put this on the agenda, are paying attention to city council about mass transit. So, but something that alerts people like train just went, the next train in 22 minutes or whatever, I think might be a nice PR and also public service, to be honest. So anyway, I thought, but I appreciate the work. I do appreciate also the vice mayor referencing grade SEP. That's huge for us. Obviously, we're not here to talk grade SEP, but it is really important.
100%. So I'll just make a few comments. So first of all, I just spent a weekend with my daughter, who at 18 went to London and learned how to use public transit on her own. And she now lives in Chicago without a car. She hasn't had one for about 7 years. And I love how the young generation is so mobile. She just looks at me if I tell her, say something like, well, let's just get an Uber. She's like, why would we do that? We're just going to get on the brown line or the red line or the blue line or whatever. And she's really teaching me. So I think getting that dollar pass into the hands of these kids is really important. And I see it in my own kids. They don't want to have a car. It is a nightmare. It's expensive. Insurance is expensive. Gas is expensive. So, what a brilliant idea. And I love that. The other thing I would say is it'd be, if it's the council's pleasure, I'd love to appoint a subcommittee together of 2 council people. Hopefully the vice mayor would consider being on this, to put together something for the 21st and 20th and 21st, and actually put a committee together, a subcommittee, work with staff, and let's do something that weekend to make it a really fun and celebratory thing. Because if we don't put a committee together, I don't think it'll happen.
We'll have the best one on the peninsula.
All right, there we go. The competition. I love it. All right, well,
Best train stations.
you and I will talk about that in a bit. We do have the prettiest train station for sure. And then finally, I really, on behalf of Peninsula Clean Energy, I want to thank you for working with us. So PCE will be providing all of the clean energy for the electrification, because even if we electrify and then we pull off the grid, we're still pulling, potentially 40% of our electricity is not greenhouse gas free and it's not renewable. So I think it was last meeting, I chair that board. We had our protocol agreement and the work we needed to do. And our staff has had nothing but amazing complimentary things to say about working with Caltrain on that move. And we are incredibly grateful because it helps us purchase clean energy on behalf of the entire county and Los Banos. And that sort of economies of scale that we get from adding you in along with some of the other big users and you guys not having a DA, but working with us or not just buying from PG&E. I think we're going to give you a good value. We're going to give you good, clean energy at a lower price. So thank you for just being a partner on that and collaborating with us. We're very grateful. Is there anything else? Andrea? No.
Good, thanks.
Okay. Yes, Vice Mayor?
If I may.
Yes,
thank you.
please, you may. Of course.
And thank you for mentioning that about PCE and the partnership. And it is a significant investment for Caltrain for that. It's a big part of their budget and it's outstanding, the partnership that's going on and really important. I would love to volunteer to do the subcommittee for the 21st of September, 20 or 21st. So if anybody else wants to join me, I would also love to see if that committee could also review the city toolkit and maybe come together and not only talk about the event, but in honor of that event, what could we maybe put forth as a future little agenda item that maybe our council could consider, whether that's some tools for the Go Pass that we might want staff to think about, or how, even in our developments, what could be on our menu of options to help for future development. So maybe one of our
I would be happy to join you.
Would
we
you?
have a sustainability.
We do. Yay. We have a sustainability person.
That would
here.
be terrific.
Okay, we have our committee. Is that all right, Lisa? Thank you.
And it really is going to be world-class service. I mean, for those of us who have traveled and lived in different countries, it really, to have electrification come to Silicon Valley in, the peninsula is going to be fantastic. So I think the more we role model and get out there and ride this train, tell everybody how amazing it is, it will really pay dividends for generations. So thanks for your leadership. Casey, in a final question, though, I think this is just an opportunity to have the chief of staff of the railroad here. Could you tell us a little bit about your perspective on Caltrain's commitment to Broadway grade separation, how you're helping us right now? And just want to have an open-ended question because it's so important to this community.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have talked about this before, but kind of in parallel to electrification, we are still moving forward with lots of other projects along the corridor. And we know that grade separations are so critical for many of the communities on the corridor. And then specifically for Burlingame, this is a partnership that we've had for a very long time with Burlingame, and we are very supportive of that project moving forward. When we look out at the funding landscape right now at the state level, which has some challenging budget options, we have seen some discouraging news about where they're thinking about adjusting funding. And one of those things could be impactful for grade separation projects along the Caltrain corridor. So this is something that we have raised to our state delegation and to the state administration, saying, hey, we know times are tough, but important safety projects like this are not places that we want to cut. And certainly when we go back in DC too, there's going to be an opportunity in the coming months for a federal program, the Rail Corridor Elimination Program. We bring up Burlingame as an example of one that does not have any federal dollars in it yet, but just with a little bit more really could be at the finish line. And for an administration that actually put forward a lot of infrastructure money, we want to highlight the projects that you can finish and complete right now. We need to continue to complete projects and get them over the finish line. So we certainly, in our partnership with Burlingame at the federal and the state level, know how important those dollars are to finish these projects. And we're happy to continue to work with the council on these efforts.
May I share a talking point for you, which is, and the Vice Mayor alluded to this earlier, but we have wealthy suburbs have a certain reputation when it comes to housing and building and development. We are not part of that reputation, but we get tarred by it, right? So people assume we're going to think a certain way. And so the Vice Mayor alluded to, or maybe it was the mayor who alluded to adding 3,000 units. That's more than 20% increase in the total number of housing units in the city of Burlingame. If every city in the state of California increased their housing stock by 20%, there would be no housing shortage. So we are leaning in, but when you lean in and when you ask residents to put up with more traffic and congestion, you then have to create great open space and you have to create more convenience. And that is what electrification helps with, and it is especially what grade separation will help with. So the state can't tell people what to do and then not support them when they're trying to do it.
Mhm. Thank you. Yeah, well said, both of you. Those are critical funds, and the tour with, we did a tour 2 weeks ago with Congressman Mullen, and his report back to us was this would be his #1 project in his district to receive federal funds. So it would be a shame if we could get the federal funds across the finish line and then the retraction of the state retracted their funds and we're right back where we are all over again. And it's, we know we've said it a million times, by the CPUC or the PUC, the #1 most dangerous grade grade separation or the at grade 8 years in a row in the state of California, and we somehow cannot get this funded. And that housing is going to need that grade separation to get those kids to school and to get to jobs and to get to work and to get to the train station, they're just going to need it. So, I really appreciate the Vice Mayor's work on that and pulling all this together. She's done yeoman's work to make that all happen. And I appreciate the whole council and how we've all been able to kind of collaborate. Everything from even just moving the parallel station that when we had that crisis and, averted with Director Mertuzza, who sat down with us in a map and City Manager Goldman, and within 24 hours, we moved the parallel station to a location where the neighbors, would not harm the neighbors. And just that kind of responsiveness is so unusual in city government that we're working so hard. I just want to make sure we push this across the finish line.
Amen.
Well, if there's nothing else, do we need public comment on this? No. Yes, we do.
Sure.
Okay.
Yes.
We'll take any public comment on this item if there is any. Do we have anything, Madam City Clerk? Is there anyone in the audience who would like to make a comment on any of this? Other than our staff who's over there going, please send us money, Lisa Goldman.
On a lighter note, Madam Mayor, as we wind this one up, I noticed, I just quickly checked, it could be that the subcommittee that creates the event, I would note that the Giants are playing September 27th. Might be kind of fun to see if Caltrain and the Giants could help out with some tickets, maybe make it a bit of a
like a raffle and
Yeah.
some fun things like that. Take the train in. Yeah.
Good idea.
That is so fun. And I think I see our people who handle our e-news, even just publishing the train schedule in the e-news would be helpful, because I think if people knew in their heads, like the train comes at 12:15 and 1:40, 12:45, and they just know, like wherever they are, they could just run down there and take it in. Let me tell you, you cannot drive in or Uber in 24 minutes. So there's no way it's 3 times that long. So if you can tell people how much time they're going to save, I think it'd be great.
and money.
And money, with gas and everything else. So, okay, well, with that, we'll close that item. Casey, thank you so much for coming. You're amazing. You have to come to all these different cities and spend your evenings with us. We are grateful.
Thanks for your partnership, Caltrain, and happy birthday, Caltrain.
Yeah. Take care. All right, right now we are on item number 8, public comments, non-agenda items. If there are any members of the public who would like to speak on an item that is not on the agenda, this would now be the time. As you know, because of the Brown Act, we are not able to respond, but can certainly hear the comment and determine what the appropriate next steps would be at a later date. So is there anyone, Megan, who?
We have 2 emails.
All right, let's please read those.
Our first email comes from Lindsay. She says, "Hello, hope this finds you well. In case this matter," oh, her email's about the Parklet program. "In case this matter is still under consideration, we want to put forward a strong recommendation to maintain parklets for interested businesses. We are a growing family and appreciate the more casual atmosphere for our infant, who can be a bit louder and likes easy access to walk about. It is also pet friendly, allowing the whole family. In addition, we have relatives with significant health issues who are not always comfortable eating indoors and always take us up on the option to dine outdoors in Burlingame. Thank you for your time and consideration."
Thank you. Next one.
And then the next one we got was from Jennifer Foff. She says, "The other day, while admiring the absolutely stunning 220 Park project unfold, I glanced across the street to the historic cupola structure that has been prominently displayed in Parking Lot J for at least 50 years. The iconic ornament is one of the few remnants of the stately brick Old City Hall edifice erected there in 1913 by renowned architect Charles Peter Weeks. 60 years thereafter, in 1970, concerned citizens rescued the beloved, am I saying it right, cupola?
Yeah.
Cupola? Mm-hmm.
During the demolition of the building when the new mid-century City Hall by architects Whiffler, Call, and Howell replaced it. Soon thereafter, the cupola, thoughtfully installed on a pedestal of bricks from the old City Hall, became the centerpiece of Parking Lot J. Notably, the old City Hall cupola is featured prominently on the beautiful, newly completed mosaic mounted on the exterior of the 220 Park project. Yet in real life, it is in dire need of TLC. At the very least, a good cleanup, caulk, and paint. In 2012, finding the cupola in a similarly sorry state, the Burlingame Historical Society elected to fund its repair and repainting out of our general fund. It ended up taking a while because of insurance and other issues involved with contractors getting permits and insurance to work on a busy city-owned parking lot. Nonetheless, it turned out well, and that repair held up until the series of recent storms, which have not been kind. I'm writing to make you aware of the situation and to find out if there are any discretionary funds that the city could use to clean up the historic and beloved Burlingame ornament. We don't know what is in store this coming fall, and it would be a real shame to let it fall further into disrepair." And she sent photos as well that she had forwarded to you guys.
All right. Thank you. No comments from the room. We appreciate those two. We will move on to the consent calendar. Are there any items anyone would like to remove from the consent calendar? Councilman Brownrigg.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd like to briefly discuss item 9D as in David.
All right, that is the resolution awarding a $2.9 million construction contract to Kratos. All right, if there are no other items, and are any members of the public requesting? Nothing? Okay. Okay. So with that, I would entertain a motion, please.
Yeah, I make a motion to approve the consent calendar for 9A, 9B, 9C, 9E, 9F, 9G.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Brownrigg. May we have a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Papajohn?
Yes.
Councilmember Brownrigg?
Yes.
Councilmember Stevenson?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Beach?
Yes.
Mayor Coulson?
Yes. Motion carries unanimously. And we'll go to item D, Councilman Brownrigg.
Thank you. I suspect that my question would be best addressed to Director Mertusa but I'll start asking as he comes to the podium. So it's basically a $3 million project. It's very exciting. It's going to help a lot of people with better water quality and more reliable water and better water pressure. And the reason I pulled it is because a $3 million contract is not one we see every day. It's obviously going to be a significant contract. And so I have 2 questions. One, have we noticed homeowners who are going to be affected? And if we haven't, can we somehow let them know this is coming?
Yes, as part of the, once the contract um, documents are all processed, the first thing the staff does is that starts the laying out of the construction staging. And as part of that, contractor will be sending notification to all the properties in the area and the timing of when they will be impacted. And so those details are not determined at this time. So that will be done once the project construction conference is done.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. And as part of either that notice or even a kind of sandwich board approach, I would love us to take us a little credit for what this work is going to do. Better water quality, better pressure, and so forth, so that the public understands that the inconvenience is going to make their lives better, basically. It's just a chance to not shoot ourselves in the foot.
Got it.
I thank you very much. It's a great project.
Thank you.
All right. Are there any other council members who have questions or comments? Any members of the public?
No.
Yeah, the project location map is easy to reference. So if anyone is listening and interested, they can just click on the staff report and pop that up. And you can see the areas are Sanchez, Edge Hill, Fairfield, Walnut, Willow. I am probably the closest proximate neighbor to all these, and we'll probably hear first and foremost, although I do believe it's in the vice mayor's district. So at any rate, thank you very much. There's a lot going on in my neighborhood right now, and they have done a really good job of working with the neighbors to let us know and marking streets and keeping everything clean and tidy and diverting traffic in ways that has not disrupted the neighborhood. And I frankly haven't heard a single word with over a year's worth of construction. So well done. All right. May we have a motion, please, to accept the contract?
I'd be pleased to make a motion to adopt item 9D.
Do we have a second?
Second?
Second by the vice mayor. So we have a motion by Councilman Brownrigg, a second by the vice mayor. Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Papajohn,
Yes.
Councilmember Brownrigg,
Yes.
Councilmember Stevenson,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Beach,
Yes.
Mayor Coulson.
Yes. All right. Motion carries unanimously. All right, we move on to item number 10, which is public hearings. We have item 10A, which is a public hearing to renew the levy and collection of assessments for the downtown Burling Avenue streetscape improvement projects. And we have Director Martuza with us.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and Council. This is a routine procedural item that we bring to you every year. As part of this request to you, we ask that you hold a public hearing and adopt the attached resolution confirming the assessments and ordering the levy for the downtown Burlingame Avenue Streetscape Improvements Project. I will not bore you with the details as you've known the details.
They are in our staff report and resolution.
Right, and just to say one thing is that there are no changes to the engineer's report. The assessments have been passed almost 10 years ago, and there has been no changes to that.
All right. Does anyone have any questions? Okay. Does any member of the public send in any comments or questions? Nope. All right. So if there are no comments, no questions, then I would take a motion, accept a motion. If anyone want to make one? Councilwoman Papajohn?
Sure, I will make a motion to approve 10A, public hearing to renew the levy and collection of assessments for the downtown Burlingame Avenue Streetscape Improvements Project.
Great. Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Peterson. All right. Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Papajohn,
Yes.
Councilmember Brownrigg,
Yes.
Councilmember Stevenson,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Beach,
Yes.
Mayor Coulson.
Yes, motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much. Item number 11 is staff reports and communications. We have none. So we will move on to council committee and activities reports and any announcements that anyone has. Yes, Vice Mayor, do you have anything? No? Anyone?
I just have
Yes, please.
short announcement. When we had conversation with council, I had with Mayor Colson,
Mhm.
we had some feedback that there was some trash that was being thrown in front of BHS, and some of the community members thought maybe it was the students, and so they had requested if we could have some bins put in front of BHS near Caroline Avenue. And so we know that's a school district, so I just reached out to the San Mateo Union High School District, and happens to be one of my neighbors, and so she just said that they will implement a few bins there.
Great.
Caroline Avenue this summer. So I think that should solve the problem, hopefully. And yeah. So
Well, I really want to thank you for following up on that. It's so nice when we have these conversations with council and people provide us ideas and we can follow up with them and, have something actually happen. So thank you very much for reporting that out. Anyone else? Okay. Is there any members of the public who have a comment on any of the committee or council reports? No? Okay. Future agenda items? Vice Mayor, at your own risk of your own life.
I know, and we're here 3 nights in a row this.
I know it's a long week.
I don't mean to prolong this meeting, but I do have a future agenda item for council's at least consideration. Inspired really by some work that neighboring cities, including San Carlos, Belmont, have recently undertaken. Context, and it's related to a subject, council salaries and stipends. In the city of Burlingame, our stipend for our work on city council has not been changed for 25 years. 1999 since the last, and many cities are in that position, but there's been some new state legislation, very reasonable standards, even that are constraining consideration of any increases to the next election cycle when people are elected. And I thought it would be an appropriate time, if this was the pleasure of the council, to at least have a hearing about some work that's being done for this meaningful work that we do as we enter into an election cycle. So I won't express any opinions, but was there anybody else that'd be willing to have that conversation at this time?
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I'm definitely prepared to have that conversation. I don't know where it will wind up going, but if it's really been $500 for 25 years, I think that merits a conversation.
All right.
Member Browner.
And I take it there are benefits that go along with that, which is the potential for health insurance. We no longer, no one on this council will qualify ever for lifetime health insurance. It was in the past. None of us will qualify it. We are under sort of our own version of PEPRA. And so, it's just that we made those changes. So I think kind of a comprehensive conversation around stipend. I think we have a small budget for travel that council has. So putting maybe that whole thing into one review. And I think it's also good for transparency with the public to let people know what the kind of benefits are, compensation and, sort of how that all works for anyone who's up on council.
Or considering running.
Or considering running. It's a good, just, governance policy, I think.
Right.
So,
Thank you.
I don't think there's any hurry on that, Lisa, but maybe it'd be a good July 3rd type thing.
Yeah, I think we probably want to daylight that before filing period. opens.
Yes, that's what I'm thinking. So like that, maybe that July 1st or whatever that meeting is, might be a good one. Usually that's a pretty late meeting, and even if people can't come, they can watch the recording or they can look at the staff report and they would be able to see it prior to pulling papers in the middle of the month.
Thank you.
All right. Does any member of the public have a comment on that? All right. Seeing none, we will move on to item 14, which is acknowledgements. Does anyone have anyone they would like to acknowledge in closing the meeting? So maybe someone who has passed away. I have one. This person passed away actually almost a year ago, but the family was very private about the situation and So I did know that there will be a memorial service held before our next meeting. I don't think it's a big public service, but Carrie Fitzpatrick, who was a long time community volunteer, someone who worked very hard in PTAs, parent group. She, used sports in a variety of things and was an amazing person. And I think in the next 2 weeks, they'll be having a small service for her up at Cole Mansion. And I just mention it because I think it's sometimes just good to go on record. It's sort of your thing that we're talking about, like just remembering people, even though they passed over a year ago. Sometimes circumstances just aren't such that the family's comfortable, but I think now they finally have been. And I did want to actually acknowledge that.
Good.
Okay. Yes, please.
One other just to remember is our former Congressman Pete McCloskey, who is an absolute giant. Started Earth Day and represented Burlingame at one point. It's worth remembering that giant as well, who we lost in the last week or two.
That's
And he was part of a law firm here in Burlingame.
Yeah. Yeah. And
actually, if I may tag on, it occurs to me that we might also close in memory of Chris Nantel.
very good. Another excellent suggestion. I think her service is actually tomorrow at St. Catherine's at, I believe, 10.
OLA.
I mean, at OLA. Okay. I knew I think at 10 a.m. I think I have a conflict, but are you going?
I have a conflict,
Okay. Well, maybe,
but I might be able to get there a little on the late side.
okay, I might be able to get there for half an hour too as well. But we do send our acknowledgements to former city manager Jim Nantel and his absolutely the memorial that he posted and the amazing, beautiful pictures of his incredibly gorgeous and lovely wife, who I think many people in Burlingame knew and appreciated. And we all know that when you are on the council or you are on our staff, it's not just you, it is your partner, your family, your children, everyone in your family who ends up having to participate in all the work we do. So thank you. Is there anyone else? Anyone else start? Okay. If not, we'll go ahead and adjourn the meeting with a moment of silence on behalf of these 3 amazing community members. And with that, I want to thank everyone for the evening. It began early tonight, and I will see everyone tomorrow and again on Wednesday.